Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. I just wanted to give my feedback and opinion on this great interview with Andrew Sorkin and Mary Barra about GM's future with EVs. Okay, sorry, a little belated now, but it was a good interview and I wanted to go over it. But I have been busy with other videos. A lot of you have asked about it though too, so I thought I would go over what I thought of the interview with Mary Barra and Andrew Sorkin. Sorkin begins by asking Barra's opinion on the valuations of these electric vehicle companies like Tesla, Rivian and Lucid compared to the legacy autos. Mary Barra explains that this just demonstrates the huge opportunity for GM and how that is so undervalued, and explained how they're starting this wonderful period now because they invested in the Ultium platform, with the Hummer and Cadillac Lyriq, and with a new battery plant up and running next year too. She's very excited to get all these vehicles out. All the vehicles, all two of them, still just the Hummer and Lyriq, with their pouch cell batteries that keep catching fire. Pouch are the worst form factors to use. It is reckless and irresponsible as they're most prone to fire. What happens if Hummers go off-road and puncture the batteries? Well, I guess fortunately for them, not many likely will. But if these EVs do catch fire like the Bolt, then that's got to be a much quicker death to the future of this company. If consumers lose complete faith in GM's EVs, in that if you buy one, they may catch fire, then their future they're banking on has got to be gone even faster. It's not quite the same as a Samsung phone battery catching fire. We're not expecting GM to use cylindrical batteries like Tesla's 4680 batteries. They could go with prismatic, like Volkswagen have decided. Sorkin mentions how Tesla is a $1 trillion company, and whether Mary Barra sees that as an opportunity GM can reach too, or perhaps there will be some middle ground and Tesla's valuation will come down with that. Barra is not allowed to say the word Tesla or the name Elon Musk, just like Joe Biden isn't. If you want to keep someone or something down, you do not acknowledge them, rather than saying bad things about them. Dismissing their existence is more powerful. It's all politics for GM, as they don't have the technology. Barra simply gives a straw man answer saying that the cars are based on a software platform rather than it just being about electric vehicles, so they can roll out software updates after the customer buys the vehicle. Wow, what a great idea. Although I suspect these software updates might just be the firmware you use in the car, and they're absolutely hideous screens. No joke, check the Hummer's screen and interior. I swear, you've got to go to a lot of effort to make something that hideous. Tesla has redefined automotive interior and architecture. The minimalistic design is the future. So many gross plastic buttons everywhere in the GM, and those air vents. Lucky for GM, their customers have more money than taste, and might actually buy this. When looking at the Cadillac Lyriq, admittedly it is more refined, but they still clearly don't get it. You need a widescreen control panel, and look how many buttons are on the steering wheel. Anyway, Barra says your vehicles will get better through ownership, but then the other aspect they have is autonomy, whether Super Cruise, Ultra Cruise, or just Cruise. I'm sure none of them work particularly well. Sorkin brings up Tesla again about how Tesla has 63% market share and GM has 10% of the EV market. 5 years from now, if GM succeeded, what will the pie chart look like then? Now let me quote what Barra said. "We are the leader today." That's the answer she gave. How on earth can she say that? And that they have been the leader in the US and number 2 in China for many years. Okay, in China, perhaps they are counting the Wuling Death Trap, which is jointly owned by GM, but in the US, what are they leading? Number of EVs that catch fire? Sorkin brings up another question about self-driving, including Waymo and Cruise, and Tesla not using lidar, and asks Barra how she sees it now. GM's Cruise cars in San Francisco are covered in lidar. It looks ridiculous and probably costs a fortune in technology. How are they going to make them ubiquitous and feasible? Of course, they will all take much longer to reach their destination than an Uber, and likely a lot longer until they come pick you up in the first place. Tesla's making cars that cost them around $25,000 that are capable of self-driving. That's the entire car. Of course, she still keeps talking about it all without mentioning Tesla. Sorkin asked Barra if the fact that GM is receiving this extra rebate for unionized labor is fair or not. She says the bill is incentivized for good-paying jobs. Remember, research has shown that Tesla employees are paid more, of which Sorkin then brings up and asks her. She just says that she'd need to see more information, that it's not just wages but benefits and healthcare. A good answer on her feet. Sorkin asks then if she feels that it's a disadvantage to the other automakers. She just talks about how she thinks it's great working with the UAW and ignores the question. At this stage, I'm really quite liking Sorkin here, how he doesn't drop the matter and keeps at it and starts quoting Elon. This is written by Ford and UAW lobbyists as they make their electric car in Mexico. Not obvious how this serves the US taxpayers. Barra says it clearly incentivizes it to be in this country, as there is a component to be built in the United States. Which is true. A $500 extra rebate if the battery is made in the US. $500 of the $12,500. Hardly a large component, i.e. perhaps the Ford get $12,000 rebate made in Mexico compared to the all-American made Tesla with an only $8,000 rebate. Sorkin detects that Barra is not really comfortable with all the Tesla questions and even admits he is sorry to keep harping on about Tesla. Barra interrupts and says, "I'd just rather talk about GM." Sorkin asks why the administration has not invited Tesla to any of these meetings. Barra says she doesn't know as she's not in charge of the guest list. Sorkin asks if she thinks this is strange. Barra says she doesn't really think about it. Sorkin talks about the Hertz deal. Barra says she doesn't know what's true there, as if she dismisses the entire deal. Sorkin talks about how it's a lock-in effect of the infrastructure and superchargers too, and creates a long-term lock-in effect for Hertz. Barra just gives another strawman answer about the fact that they're spending $750 million on their supercharger network, as their customers want to know that there is a trusted infrastructure. Supercharger networks, as we know, are still one of Tesla's many massive competitive advantages, and it doesn't look like GM are willing to accept Tesla superchargers anytime soon. Okay, that was about all they had to talk about GM's EVs. I think Sorkin did well. He asked some good questions. Despite Barra getting agitated, he could have pushed hard to actually get the answers she avoided giving though. Barra did an outstanding job of avoiding said questions and not acknowledging that Tesla or Elon Musk even exist. I guess she may have been prepped for all these questions before. I would have. There was one more question at the end though. Sorkin asked Barra what car she is driving currently, and it's a Bolt, which is obviously likely just another lie. She knows how dangerous these cars are more than anyone else. Of course she's not. We can't believe anything she says anyway. Oh, but it's just until she gets her electric Hummer. Yeah, she certainly looks like your typical cliche of a Hummer driver. And she's on the list for a lyric with 200,000 other hand raisers. I'm not entirely sure what a hand raiser is, but my guess is that it's not someone who is pre-ordered with a deposit. But seriously, all GM have in the way of electric cars coming are the Hummer and Cadillac. How many people do you even know who own one? What cool people do you know who drive a Cadillac? Also, we don't have the full specs on this Cadillac yet, and what you'll get for the price. GM is not a cool brand. Tesla is vastly superior. I'm still not overly convinced yet how many legacy brands can truly be accepted as an electrical vehicle, and which ones still have too much baggage remaining about the good old days with gas-guzzling engines. I really don't like this company or the CEO. I've been an avid car enthusiast since a teenager, but I've never liked any American cars, not really one. Perhaps the Viper was kind of cool in a way, at a stretch, and possibly the Ford GT or GT40, and I can appreciate some cars like the Ford Shelby GT500, but I didn't covet any of these cars. Nothing compared to what European cars offered. Equally, I wasn't a huge fan of Japanese cars either. Okay, perhaps I should just say I was a European car enthusiast, but maybe growing up in Europe had something to do with that too. Anyway, I'm betting against GM as soon as this bill passes. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.